You know what needs to be discussed at some point? The pipeline between rugby league content creators and radio. Genuinely explain that. Anyways, hello guys, Z1009 here. Welcome to today's video where we're going to be giving out my tips and predictions for round 10 of the 2024 NRL season. Last round we actually did, we got over 50%, I believe. We did okay. Could have been a bit better. Could have been better if some teams didn't blow it. But, you know, that's how you got to play sometimes. So anyways, without further ado, let's get straight into Thursday's matchup. First up, you have at Suncorp on the Thursday, it is the Redcliffe Dolphins up against the Manly Seagulls. Now, the Dolphins and Manly were actually a part of two very close games with two very interesting results. As basically, the Dolphins were held out winners over the Cowboys because of a Valentine Holmes missing the conversion to tie the game, which is the second time he's missed a clutch kick. I remember like round 2 against the Knights, he missed the kick from like somewhat relatively not that hard to make to win the game, but then went to golden point, but they still won anyways. And Manly choked against Canberra. It was great to see from Canberra actually show a fair amount of ticker, you know, took them right to the edge and won. Betting odds are pretty close. It's like $2 for the Dolphins. Manly slight favourites. I'm going to go with the Dolphins to take the win here. I just think, you know, at home. And I do think the Dolphins haven't been in the greatest form, but they're starting to start bringing it back. So I do think they're going to put a bit of a sting on Manly to start off the round. Now we go to Friday, 6 p.m. and you have the Penrith Panthers against the Penrith Panthers 2 years ago. Oh, fuck, we did it. You thought I wasn't going to make a joke about how the Bulldogs are basically... No, fuck you. But obviously it is the Penrith Panthers up against the Canterbury Bulldogs. Now this is really interesting because Bulldogs currently in 8th place. They do have a couple of players sim in because of a bit of a feisty affair with the Tigers last week. And Penrith, after a shaky start, really just put more pain on South Sydney, more than probably that needed to should be. Now, I do understand in terms of the current script writing for NRL, which I've dubbed "F*** your tips." There is basically each round, there is just an upset that happens for no particular reason and has no indication of it happening at all. I do think one will happen this round, but I don't think it's going to be this one. I think Penrith are going to win this match. Now we go to Friday, 8 p.m, and you've got the Parramatta Eels up against the Brisbane Broncos. Now, Brisbane met very stern opposition and lost to the Roosters in a fantastic display for them. And Parramatta are coming off a bye, but their previous match 2 weeks ago was their loss to Manly, where everybody sort of dogpiled on Marcus Sevo because obviously he got sin-binned, but also Marcus Sevo was sort of the only reason they were in it. When I was talking in the previous match about how there's just one random upset that happens for absolutely no reason, this is the match I think it's going to happen, and not based on purely anything, not on form, not on anything, just I feel like this is going to be the result. I think Parramatta are going to win this because tips are just not safeguarded anymore. Now we go into Saturday, 3 p.m. at Tamworth. You've got the West Tigers up against the Newcastle Knights. The Tigers in a very, 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 very feisty affair against the Bulldogs. Aiden Caesar suspended. But it was charged for a hip drop, but it's not classified as a hip drop, but they should still charge him as if such. Annesley's, I think, is a bit of he's got a bit loopy because of how really bad the refereeing has been recently. But the Newcastle Knights are getting the win over the Warriors in another game that was a little bit controversial because of a penalty try, which I think probably should have been given. But then again, the Warriors had about 32 play the balls where the Knights were on their try line and the Warriors only scored 1 try. I feel like it was just more so the Warriors lost that game, but hey, the Knights defense held out well. The Knights are getting Jacob Saifidi and Tyson Frizzell back, which is fantastic. Very good, and I believe the Knights should take the win. Now we go into the 5:30 match on Saturday, and we have the St George Illawarra Dragons up against South Sydney Rabbitohs. The Dragons actually were taking it to Cronulla in a bit of a wet match down in the Shire, but Cronulla were able to weasel themselves back into the game with their high-end talent, which is good to see. Good to be using your high-end talent. But Dragons actually showing some pretty decent ticker. The South Sydney aren't. Like, holy shit. Like, the amount of injuries South Sydney have had is ridiculous. Like, I'll put up it like this. Like, this is the amount of people that are currently out with injuries for South Sydney. Like, how? What deity did you piss off? But yeah, obviously this is a little bit, you know, it's a rivalry game. So form probably may not play that much of a factor. But just by the way South Sydney are currently at the moment, I'm going to tip the Dragons to take the result. Now we have Saturday 7:35, the match of the round, arguably probably match of the season here to start it off. It is the Melbourne Storm up against the Cronulla Sharks, second versus first. Honestly, you could probably tell me this could be a preview to a grand final, and I would not argue with you. I'd say these two teams, along with Penrith, have been the best teams in the NRL, and this should be a fantastic match. Obviously, Nico Hines against his former club, blah, 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 blah. Two top teams. Oh, it's a hard one to predict. I'm going to go with the Storm, but I know I never end up tipping Cronulla, but I do like Cronulla. I don't have anything against Cronulla. It always just ends up I don't end up tipping them, but I do like them. But I do think the Storm, I think, can win this. Now we move on to Sunday 2 p.m. and you have the Sydney Roosters up against the New Zealand Warriors. The Roosters the Bondi Wall is real. It's real. They beat Brisbane up in Suncorp. They did really well. New Zealand Warriors are, I think you can make the argument they're in a bit of a slump. They had a fair amount of chances to probably win the game against the Knights last week, but just didn't. And with this, I just think the Roosters are in too hot for form to really mount the Warriors to like kick back into form. So I think the Roosters should be able to take the win. And finally, in terms of match of the season, in terms of actual quality of football, that is going to be that one. But in terms of NRL shit posting on social media and just absolute beef, this is the match of the season. It is the Gold Coast Titans up against the North Queensland Cowboys. The Titans did really well against Melbourne. Just couldn't get over the line. Yes, refereeing is a little bit varied and stuff like that, but it's just that at least they're consistently shit. So it's like it's across the board bad. And the North Queensland Cowboys, I think they probably should have won last weekend, but just kind of blew it. Oh, who do I pick? I don't want to. Which side do I not want to, or do I want to end up annoying? Fuck. I've got it. Well, we're 0-1 in this because the coin picked at Brisbane. We're going to do the coin flip. So heads for home, tails for away. So let's see who the coin has. It has heads. It's tipping the Titans. The coin is not me. So don't send messages to me. I'm a university student. You really think I've got time to have internet beef? But anyways, that's going to be the end of this tips and predictions video. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all later.